Hello painters, I'm Beth Wheeler with Studio Bethshan, and I'm here today with EcoPore pouring kit from Earth Safe Finishes. This is the EcoPore pouring medium and the acrylic base. I've already mixed up my paints, and I'm going to share with you an easy technique for making some beautiful coasters that make lovely gifts. I have 5 wall tiles here. These are just shiny tiles from the do-it-yourself store or the home improvement store, and I've washed them off with 100% alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and that's to remove any dirt or any oils that might interfere with the paints adhering to the tiles. I've mixed up my paint. I have 1 part pouring the acrylic base, a few drops of the pigments, and then 4 parts of the pouring medium. The EcoPore pouring medium is unique in that there is no VOCs in any of this, so there are no fumes or any off-gassing that might be problems for small children, animals, pets, or anyone with chemical sensitivities. So this is completely safe to use. I am about to mix 2-layer paint into some small pouring cups, and these are just 2-ounce cups, and I'm going to fill them about halfway. And I put white in the bottom, and then teal, and then the blue, and then I'm going to use one of the sticks and just put a star in the center. Actually, I think I can put a little more white in there, just because. And then we're going to flip this over, and while that's resting, we'll mix up the others. I've added a couple of drops of silicone to each cup, each color, and mixed it up well. And then I put a couple more drops on the top, and I just barely mix it. And that usually yields really nice cells. So we're going to mix up a second batch. This time I'm putting teal on the bottom and the white and then the blue. And then I'm going to do the X. And that's to help my paints begin to mix, but I don't want them to blend. I don't want them to change colors. And you might see some of the paint seeping out around the edges, and that's perfectly all right, because pretty soon we're going to put it all over the top of the tile. Okay. And I usually do a set of 4 tiles, and when I do a set of 4 tiles, I'll paint 5 tiles, because invariably I'll drop something on one of them, or one of them just doesn't come out right. So I always have this little insurance, and if I have 5 tiles instead of 4 good ones, I'll use the tile for something else. Okay, 1 more to go, and it's nice that these are resting. The whole technique is based on the paint densities and what happens when the heavier paints fall, the lighter paints rise, and as they pass one another, they go around those little droplets of silicone, and that's what forms the cellular structures. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Lift. Ooh, look at those cells. Even cells in the cup. And I'm going to tilt just a little bit, and as you know, tilting is not my favorite thing. But I keep watching videos of people who are expert at tilting, and I'm getting a little more brave. Now I will have a little bit of paint on the back of my tiles, and if you don't want that, you can certainly feel free to tape your tiles off with a little bit of masking tape, and then you won't have those. Okay, this one's just about done. I'm going to pour and tilt all 4, and then we'll add a little bit of torching when all of them are poured. Now look, these are exactly the same colors, and look how different those are going to be. And I'm dabbing around the sides just to make sure the sides are covered with paint as well as the top. My paint's just a teeny weeny bit on the thick side because I had mixed these up before the weekend and then went away for the weekend. So if that happens, you can reconstitute it to the correct consistency, either with a few more drops of the pouring medium or a little bit of rubbing alcohol, or even some filtered water. I don't suggest tap water because tap water can have minerals and other things in it that might interfere with the paint. Once these dry, we're going to come back and I'll show you how to finish them off using Earth Safe Finishes marine varnish, so the coasters will be impervious to heat and to moisture. These are all really pretty, but very, very different. That's one of the things I like about this technique. Okay, number 5. And the corners are always where I find the thinnest paint. So I try to give extra attention to the corners. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause just a minute and get my torch. Okay, I'm back with the torch, and this is a creme brulee torch. It's a butane torch, and it has a double flame on it. And I'm using the torch to break the bubbles in the paint, and sometimes it will promote cell formation. If you see your paint start to smoke, you know you've held it in place a little too long. If you've seen your paint start to flame, well, it won't because it's water-based. Never mind. Okay, there we go. Now, 5 very different looking tiles from the same paint combination. Okay, we're going to let these dry and I'll be back to finish with the varnish. Okay, we're back with our coasters. They've dried nicely. It's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and you can see that the paint has dried slightly dull, and that is the nature of acrylic paints. But we're going to bring the sparkle and the shine back with a couple of layers of Earth Safe Finishes marine varnish. This is great stuff. It's low VOC, so it's still safe for pets and animals, and children, also animals. And we're going to apply it with a soft sponge brush. But before that, we need to remove the silicone from the tiles. So I'm using a paper towel and just some rubbing alcohol, and I'm blotting the surface of the coaster, and that I'm avoiding scrubbing. You might be able to rub it gently, but you'll see just a little bit of color might come off, but usually not very much. So I have removed the silicone from all the others, and I'm ready to start applying the marine varnish. I'm using a sponge brush because I really do not like to see brush strokes in this. And I'm going to apply the first coat horizontally, and I'll let that dry. And then I'll apply a second coat vertically and let that dry. And I'll put probably 3 or 4 coats on before I'm finished. And that's going to bring the shine back, and it's going to make the tiles impervious to heat and to moisture. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is put some felt furniture pads on the back to protect the surface of the furniture, and then this will be ready to tie up with a pretty bow and give as a gift. Okay, so my first coat of the varnish is on, and I'm going to let that dry to the touch, so it'll be about an hour, and then we'll be back. Okay, our varnish is dried, and you can see how shiny it is. I love the different textures in the tiles. Even though we used exactly the same colors in the cups and flipped them just like all the others, each one is a little different, and I really like that in this set. The last thing I'm going to do is glue furniture pads on the back. Even though these are self-adhesive, never trust that adhesive. I'm using either E6000 goop, or the one that I have today is Quick Grip from Beacon Chemical. This is awesome stuff, and it will withstand just about any punishment that you can give it on a tabletop. So I am just going to glue this on the back, and once it's dry, it's ready to go. Now, if you don't like the paint on the back, and some people don't, then feel free to mask the back with a piece of plastic or paper and some tape, and then take it off before the paint has completely dried. And that will keep your back looking nice and clean. And these are now surface wash. I would not suggest putting them in the dishwasher, but you could certainly wash them with a wet washcloth or wet dishcloth, and they would be fine. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And join me next time.